Thanks so much for watching Afternoon Live. Our next guest argues that our society has been shaped more by DJs from the South Bronx than gurus and entrepreneurs from elite universities or even Silicon Valley. Here to share more, we welcome the author of Dead Precedents. Roy Christopher is with us. Roy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
That is a bold argument for some. Now, for me, I grew up in the hip hop generation. I'm a hip hop baby. So I understand where you're coming from, but for those who aren't, explain your position.
Well, I kept seeing things all through our society and through creative cultural practices that I found myself thanking hip hop. Thank you, hip hop, for different things that were going on, and I kept kind of a mental list of this. And then the original argument of the book is that hip hop is the blueprint of the future. And so in creating that argument, I kept going back to these different things that I think came from hip hop. Grandmaster Caz is fond of saying that hip hop didn't invent anything, it reinvented everything. So
I think so.
So most of these things are not things that came strictly from hip hop, but that hip hop put together in a new creative kind of way.
And influenced and morphed into a whole nother thing, right? So let's get a little bit more specific. What are some of the things that you thanked hip hop for?
Well, I guess the main one that people will be familiar with are sampling, cutting and pasting. Those practices largely started in hip hop and got spread and popularized in a way through hip hop. So if you watch something like Stranger Things, you're going to see pieces of other things that they basically cut and pasted. And the directors will tell you this, the story writers will tell you this, yeah, we took pieces of Stephen King and Steven Spielberg and we mixed them all together.
Right.
That's how hip hop is made.
That's hip hop.
Right.
So when you're talking about that, you mean, so people, there are a lot of people who are watching like, I don't understand what you mean by sampling. I don't understand what you're talking about. So hip hop uses a lot of influences from other musical genres and put them all together and made a whole new song. Right? So that's what we mean by sampling. There's a lot of old school music and the new school music, and it all comes together to make something, right? That's where you're going? That's where you're going with that?
Yes.
Okay. But the statement to say that even, these gurus from elite colleges and universities or even Silicon Valley hasn't had as much impact as hip hop, some people are shaking their heads.
Right.
Explain.
I think the difference between these two aspects, one is bottom up and the other one is top down. And so gurus and bosses and CEOs and those things are top down, and bottom up is going to have influences that you're not necessarily going to see immediately, but it's going to spread farther than someone coming from the top down.
No,
so I think that's
that. That's definitely hip hop. Always coming from the bottom.
Right.
What is it Drake says? Started from the bottom. Now we're here. Okay, so let's talk about this term that's used in the book, Afrofuturism.
Yes.
Tell me what that means.
Afrofuturism is basically, it comes from looking at lots of science fiction that was envisioning the future without African Americans. And so people writing stories that envisioned that not being the case. Sun Ra said, I saw this movie called Logan's Run, which came out in 1975. And he's like, there are no black people in it. I guess they don't expect us to be here. Lots of writers took that to heart and started writing stories that envisioned a future that did include empowered black, African American people. So things like, the biggest one now is Black Panther with Wakanda, and all. That's a huge kind of touchstone for the recent moment of Afrofuturism. But it's something that's been around for a very long, there's a very long lineage to it. And I couldn't talk about hip hop in the future without talking about Afrofuturism.
Sure. So when did you get introduced to hip hop? Do you remember your first memory? The very first, like the story I tell in the beginning of the book is the first time I heard Criminal Minded, but that wasn't the first time I heard hip hop, but that moment sticks with me because of the combination of things that struck me about that at the time. But when I first heard it, we were trying to break dance. And who's we? You and your friends?
Me and my BMX skateboarding friends were trying to break dance, and we called it break dance music because we didn't even know it was called hip hop at the time. And so that's those like Joystick by Nucleus is the first song I remember hearing. So everyone says Sugar Hill Gang, but I don't remember that.
You don't remember Sugar Hill Gang?
I remember it, but I don't remember that being the first one that I heard. I think I was a little late, and so I caught.
Maybe, but listen, no time is the wrong time to get exposed, in my mind anyway, to hip hop music. There's been some though that, leaves a lot to be desired as a hip hop critic. But I like where you're going with this. So what's your favorite hip hop song?
My favorite hip hop song? Oh boy.
Too much?
I can tell you what I think is the best one.
Which one?
My Philosophy by Boogie Down Productions.
Okay, that's a classic.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Super excited to have the conversation continue because you have a book event.
Yes.
Very good. Roy's book event is Dead Precedents, and the event is tonight at 7:30 at Powell's on Burnside, and of course we'll have more information for you on our website at KATU.com. All right, coming up next, we're getting ready for summer by adding flair to our flip-flops. We'll be right back.